Hey, family. Nessa Parker here. I am so excited tonight that we're getting together amidst everything that's going on. So please do me a favor. Go ahead and like, share, tag a friend, tell them Lit Live is live right now on Facebook and Instagram. And I want to just take this time to reach out to all of the Lit family, all of the national network of young adults. We have gotten the text message, we've gotten the calls, we've had multiple Zoom conference calls, as you can hear from my voice. We have been working through and with everyone in the network at this most critical time. And so what we want to do is make sure that we are flooding your social media with positivity and light. So go ahead, come on in the room, like, share, tag, make sure that you are a part of this conversation today. Now, this is a critical time in our country, in our nation, particularly for our young adults who are or were getting ready for graduation, who are making next steps in their lives, who are thinking about career paths, who got new jobs, who are getting ready to go answer their call to ministry, whether they're in seminary or whether there are new pastors. And we understand that all of the things that are happening, if you are in Nashville, for those at Tennessee State University who experienced the tornado, to now COVID-19. And we want to make sure that we take time during this critical moment to make sure that you have the skills, the tips, the resources, and the inspiration you need to stay lit at dark times. So you might be saying to me, Napoli, why is it that we need to stay lit? There is so much going on in the world. There is so much happening. Why is it even important to be the light of Christ right now? Why is it even important to talk about all these things? I can't graduate in May. I spent 4 years preparing for this critical moment in my life that won't even happen. Why is it important to stay lit at this time when I literally am told that I can't even leave my house? Some of us had to leave apartments and dorms and move back into their family's house. And if we are not careful because of what is happening outside of us, we will think that we're stuck. We would believe that life stops here, or we will believe that there will be thoughts of anxiety and even thoughts of depression. But this is what I came on the line to tell you today, that nothing that happens outside of you, that nothing that is happening in the world could stop the power of God and the purpose of God in your life. I came on Lit Live tonight to remind you that yes, even though things seem to be going crazy, you are still the light of Christ. I want you to think about that text. We've talked about it so many times at the Leading in Transformation Conference. We talked about that the literal people that are sitting in front of Jesus when we read the scripture Matthew 5 are people who have nothing. There are people who you can see the dirt under their fingernails. There are people who are dealing in tragic times, much like we see today. But Jesus Christ himself looks into their eyes and says, you are the light of Christ. And so as we come together today, again, I want you to go ahead and tag a friend. Make sure that you share, like, give us some hearts, give us some love, drop some comments in the section, because we want to remind you, no matter what is happening around us, you are still the light of Christ. You might not be able to walk in graduation. You might have to go back home and do virtual class, but you are still the light of Christ. I want you to remember that no matter what is happening externally around you, it does not negotiate, it does not negate, and it does not take away who Christ has called you to be in such a time as this. So we want to share with you 3 things today to make sure that you are staying lit. And I want you to make sure, if you haven't already, make sure that you get our notifications so that you know every time that we go live. Please make sure, stop what you're doing, tag a friend so that they can go back and catch this on the replay. every week, every Thursday, we're going to have lit lives, and we're going to be sharing tips, resources, and inspirations with you today. So I'm about to drop 3 nuggets on you. So I want to make sure that you're in the building. Make sure that you get these nuggets. These are the 3 nuggets that I want to leave you tonight. And then I'll share with you some of the other opportunities that we have to make sure that you are resourced, to make sure that you're inspired, to make sure that you are empowered, especially during a time like this. So this is what I want you to understand. I want you to understand during this critical time of quarantine, of social distancing, of making sure that we are keeping and being well in our body, in our soul, and in our spirit, I want you to know these 3 things. Number 1, I want you to know that it is still possible to have clarity in uncertain times. I know it doesn't make sense, right? But I'm going to say it again. It is still possible to have clarity in uncertain times. I know what it feels like to be put in situations where you can't necessarily see what the next step is. I know what it feels like to be in situations where the whole bottom falls out. I know what it feels like to be in situations where you work so hard for something, but you never get to reap the benefits. I know what it feels like to feel a little insecure because all of the things and all of the people that you used to be able to see all the time are not there, and now things seem uncomfortable and uncertain. But I want you to understand that certainty doesn't come in people and things. Certainty comes in confidence in God. And so no matter what the quarantine may be, no matter what the situation may be externally, and yes, we want to make sure that we wash our hands. We want to make sure that we follow the guidelines of the local and the state government, as well as following what's happening on CDC. But I want you to understand that your certainty does not come from those things. You want to be mindful, you want to be well, but your certainty comes from relationship with God. I'm going to say that again. Your certainty comes with relationship with God. I've heard the stories that people have signed up for international internships and that won't take place. I've heard the stories of people who have spent years in school and have finally made it to the place of graduation and won't be able to walk across the campus. I've heard the stories of people who have gotten jobs and it feels like the amazing opportunity in the window and the door has finally been opened up only for it to be shut. But I want you to know that clarity does not come from those things. Clarity comes from your relationship with God. And so I want to ask you today, how are you even during this time setting up patterns and strategies to make sure that you're developing clarity? So in our devotional that I'm going to share with you all not too long from now, there's a story about a little boy who goes to bed and he hears a voice. And he thinks that the voice is of his mentor. And the mentor tells him, go back and lay it down again. I did not call you. That little boy goes back and lays down and he hears another voice. And then he goes back to his mentor and he says, I keep hearing you calling me. Was that you? The mentor says, no, that wasn't me. Go back and lay down again. And he got up again and he said, are you sure you're not calling me? And then that mentor said, no, that wasn't me. But this time when you go back and lay down, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to say, speak, Lord, your servant's listening. We're at a situation and a time in our society right now where we're distancing from people. We're at a time where our services have to be suspended and reimagined. We're at a time that even the way that we learn has to be reshaped and done a little differently. So all of the things and all of the voices that we're used to, they're not quite going to be the same anymore. But I want you to do what this little boy did in this text. I want you to go back and say, Lord, I've had 3 days of Netflix and chill, but today, speak, Lord, I'm listening. I want you to go back into your room and shut off whatever it was you was listening to or whatever it is you were scrolling. And I want you to say, God, in this time, I need you to speak to me like you've never done before. And there's 3 reasons why I believe we can have clarity in uncertain times. The 3 reasons we can have clarity in certain times, because we have to be sure we know where we're getting our direction. So there's 3 questions I have for you right now. Question number 1 is, where are you going for direction? Where are you looking to? Who are you talking to? Whose voice is the strongest in your head? Is it the voice of CNN? Is it the voice of Fox? And I'm not saying that being informed is not important, but I'm saying what we do with our time and where we find direction is very important. That's how we are able to cultivate a culture of call and clarity. The second question I have for you are, who are your major voices? Who are you listening to? What is the voice that you've been digesting and consuming in these last days? And then the last question is, where are you spending your time, your talent, and your resources? The second thing I want you to understand when we talk about clarity in uncertain times is that we have a choice to make. This is a critical time for all of us. Listen, this affects us, whether you're a millionaire or you're on welfare, whether you're 99 or you're 9 months old, whether you're black, white, or in between, we are all impacted. Can't you see the providence of God that something like this brings us all together to the same place? Isn't it an amazing situation that this is an equal playing field? We are all affected. We are all in this together. And so what I want us to understand tonight, and I want us to really be clear, that we have a choice to make during this time. We can choose to live into creativity, to create, to produce, or we can fall into complacency. And so my prayer for you is that you will make a choice to stay lit. What does that mean? What is creativity and what is complacency? Creativity is, how are you using this time? How are you using this time to show and to bear fruit? The third thing I want us to know tonight is that you also have a choice for your perspective to be positive or for it to be negative. All right, I want to share with you a story. I just got off a call, a really important call with a friend who's been impacted by COVID-19. And was that there was still hope and there was still positivity. What I loved about the conversation was that she kind of mind checked herself and made a decision that this temporary situation is not going to determine who I am yet becoming. Although you are brokenhearted, although you are disappointed, although we are faced with new challenges and new norms, I want you to make a decision today that this is not going to be the end. How can we serve a God that does exceedingly and abundantly above all we ask or think, and we're concerned because we have one disappointment? How is it that we can serve a God that says, I'll open doors, and we're worried about the little crack in the window that has been closed? I want us today to understand that no matter who you are, no matter where you are, no matter what you're going through, and I know that this is a time of anxiety, and I feel it and I know it, that this is a time of a lot of people experiencing disappointment. I feel it, I know it, I get the text messages, we get the DMs, but I promise you that this is not the end of the story for you. So I want you to make sure that you are protecting yourself, right? So CDC gave us some basic things that we can do to protect ourselves, like washing our hands. I want you to wake up every morning and I want you to wash your mind. I want you to make sure that the first thing that you view is not your cell phone or your TV screen, but I want you to put and feed your body with the things that are going to make sure that you get some clarity because you're listening to the right voice. I want you to make sure that you do that for at least 20 minutes. They said that you need to sing happy birthday when you wash your hands. Well, I want you to make sure that you get at least 20 minutes of time in the morning that you are focused and feeding yourself right. So again, the three things I want you to do is make sure that you have clarity in uncertain times by focusing on the right voice. I want you to make sure that you're choosing creativity and not complacency, all right? There's a time that you have to shut off the Netflix and make sure that you're doing those things that you promised yourself that you didn't have time to do. Now you have the time to create, to produce, and to do that which you're called to do. And the last thing I want you to do is make sure that you choose your perspective, because the choice is yours. We can't control what's happening externally, but we can control ourselves. And so there's three ways that you can connect through us through this time. We have a devotional series called Hear, Discern, Respond, and we're going to be having a digital virtual devotional experience in the nnya app. So you can go to Attendify, and we'll drop it in the comments section. Look for Lit Conference 19, and we're going to be connected over the very scripture that I shared today. And we're going to make sure that we're holding each other accountable to have clarity in uncertain times, to create and not to get complacent, and to choose positivity and walk in the light. Okay? So I want you to make sure, go right now to Attendify app and then get HBCU Lit 2019, sorry, not HBCU, Lit Conference 2019, and join us for our virtual devotionals together. The second way that you connect with us on Instagram as well as on Facebook. Also want to make sure that you're liking, sharing, tagging. It's so important, especially at times like these, that we are feeding ourselves with positivity and light. There's great things that can happen even in COVID-19. There are great things that could happen even though you're experiencing some disappointments. There are great things that could happen because God is still God and is walking right there through and with you, right? So you can stay connected with us through our app. You can also stay connected to make sure that you're getting our newsletter. We're going to be sharing wonderful and positive stories of people throughout the network. So you want to make sure that you subscribe and you are part of that. And then lastly, I want you to make sure that in all that you are doing, that you are choosing love and light. All right, stay lit, my friends. We're going to put all of this information in the comment section for you. And I can't wait to see you next week. There's Lit Live, has amazing content. Our team has been working, has been praying, and we can't wait to connect with you. Right? No matter who you are, no matter where you are in life's journey, transformation starts with you.